Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today on Collection Lessons, I want to talk about consumption. And this is part of my Collection Lessons series. Anything I say on this channel is not anything advice, and let's get started. So what I want to talk about consumption is, um, I find that there are a lot of things that trick you into buying more than you need, and usually for consumption purposes, and I'll get into a couple examples, that not only cost you more. Sure, they might be a better deal than something else in its, let's say, ratio or bracket, but it costs you more in multiple ways. So to get into the first example, first example is, let's say, popcorn. And when I say popcorn, I mean like at a movie theater, where at a movie theater they always say that there's three sizes: there's small, there's medium, and there's large, right? And the prices usually, I think from what I've found anyway, the small popcorn's like $5, the medium's like $5.50, and then the large is $6. And people will think, well, if I'm paying $5, I might as well pay $6 and get a large, right? Everyone thinks like that. That's just how it works, because a small is usually like, maybe like, if a large was like a large, a medium might be like a half or so, or even 2/3. We'll go 2/3 of a large, and a small is 1/3 of a large, right? That's usually how it works. So it makes sense, right? Like, if I'm paying $5 for a third, why not pay 6 and get more? Good deal, right? Right? That everyone could see that. That's a good deal. However, the problem is because the theaters and places that do this, they know that you're going to basically just buy a large, right? It makes more sense either financially or whichever. But the problem is people think of this as a dollar figure. All of these as dollar figures, right? They don't think of it in calorie figures. So if I talk about calories, we'll just call it cal, you know that this one's going to have a third of the calories, right? And this one's going to have 2/3 of the calories of a large, and this one's going to be a large, so it's going to just be equal to 1, right? 3 out of 3, if you want to think of it like that, right? So let's say this is, I don't know, 500 calories, right? And this one's would be then 1,000, and then this one would be 1,500, right? That's pretty simple math. People can see that, right? So this is like, if I draw a line in between all these, that's how it looks. And everyone says, well, this is $5, this is $5.50, this is, they compare these front stat things here, and they don't compare the calories. It makes sense, the calories part. But then it's like, not only are you only need to eat a small. Let's just say you need in quotes to eat a small, but you get the large because the deal, whatever. So not only are you paying $1 extra, right, that you don't need. Really, you only need the small popcorn, but you're like, it's a good deal, so then you pay the $1 extra, you get that. Not only that, you actually take over another 200% of calories. And the 200% comes from 100% being double the calories, and 200% is 2 times the calories that a small would have. So you're paying more. Like, just figure this out with me. You're paying more, and then you're taking on 200 more calories, 200% calories, which means if you were to work this off, this extra whatever, and I'm not sure the statistics on how much you need to walk to pay off so many calories, but whatever it is, you need to walk not only one, but basically 3 times more than you would if you didn't go to the casino, the theater at the theater to get the popcorn anyway, right? So not only are you spending more, which if you think of time equals dollars, right? You paid more, so you paid more with your time here, and then you're going to be paying more with your time here to work off the calories. And if you don't work off the calories, you know what happens to the body when it has too many calories. But so not only are you paying more time for this large popcorn, you're also paying more time to work it off. If you're, let's say this little stick person needs to work it off, and they need to, if they get the small, they run for an hour, and if they get the large, they're gonna have to run for 3 hours, right? And then that 3 hours is time that is taken away from you, right? So you're taking away 2 hours of your life, let's say in this instance, on top of the extra however long it took to make $1, which is not usually anything significant, maybe like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something of work. So it's a good deal. However, it's eating you twice as bad, right? Not only are you paying more with your time, you're also paying more with your time if you want to work it off. Or if you're, you'll just feel, if you don't work it off, you'll just feel less healthy, right? So that's one instance where I wanted to share, consumption. And just because something appears to be a good deal, in my opinion, only pay for what you need, because there's hidden cost to this. The cost of, the dollar, which is more time, and then there's the cost of the calories, which is usually in some sort of equivalent of time, either working out or at the gym or walking or whatever. And if you don't do that, then it's just horrible for your health to have an extra 1,000 calories on your day, right? Another part where this kind of comes into play, let's just go into a second example, is data. And people are like, what do you mean data? So I'm going to quickly go into, let's say, a data plan. So some people will say, for their cell phones. This is a good example with cell phones. So let's say you get, 3 gigs of data for $80, because I don't know where you are, but cell phone prices for data is ridiculous here. So 3 gigabytes is $80. 5 is 85. Something simpler. And you're like, well, this, why not just get that one? And then 10, is another, my drawings are amazing. So then 10 is 90, and then if you want unlimited, we'll just call it U, it's 100. And everyone's like, well, how much do I need? You might as well, get the 10 gig one, because it's worth it, because 3 gigs is 80, and then you see the math, and it's the same math that you're doing up here. You look at this, and you're like, click, 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 and we'll go like this and make another bracket, and then we'll go like this, and this is unlimited, which basically means infinite. So this is an infinite symbol, if you're ever curious what that looks like. Let's just say, 10 gig is the 1 in this case, and then this is a half, and then this is basically just less than a third. We'll just say a third. That's quick math. So people will be like, well, I can get, almost double for $5, or I can get double for another $5, and then they end up getting this, and then they end up using 1 gig or something, and maybe you use more. I don't know your case, but people will look at data like this. They won't look at the time at the end of this. What do you mean by time? Let's draw another graph here, and of course with data you're not going to have calories associated to your data. Maybe you could, I don't know, but you're going to look at time. What are you going to use 3 gigs for? What are you going to use 5 gigs for, 10 gigs for? Right, in a time fashion. And because this is usually per month, right? So it's every month it resets. So what are you going to use 3 gigs for? Well, I browse Facebook once in a while, maybe for an hour or 2 a day, right? For Facebook and maybe social media or TikToks or whatever you're into. No big deal. But if you need the more data, what are you going to get? You're probably looking at something like 2 to 4 maybe hours of time on social media, TikToks, time wasted in my opinion. And what are you going to do with 10 gigs? Well, you're going to, you use data a lot. So either you're downloading a bunch of video games on your phone or whichever. And then you're spending, 5 maybe hours a day. And I suggest everyone track their usage with social media or video games or whichever, just to see what they're at. And, the difference between this and this is double. The difference between this and this, could be more than 5. It could be whatever. And it's like, do you really need to waste more time, let's say on Netflix? There's some learning things, I get it, on Netflix, but most of the time people just watch, videos for consumption. This is the consumption video. And, instead of, wasting, if this is like 7 to 14 hours a week, which is almost like a part-time job in a sense. And then this one would be, 14 hours to 8 times 7. I can't do math right now, so let's just bring open my calculator. I knew it was 56. I was just testing you. So yeah, it's like now you're in this category. You're more than your full-time job on your phone with the 5 gigs of data. Let's just say in an instance, because everyone's different. And then if it's 5+ hours a day, 7 times 5 is at least 35, I believe. And then it could be unlimited. It could be 80 hours a week, let's say. And what is that 80 hours getting in life? Look at that, right? your 40-hour work week is getting you at least some sort of sustainable income to live, to pay your expenses, to eat, to have a rent, pay for kids. There's at least something behind that. But if this is your free time and your free time is being used for nothing other than just blowing it on, enjoyment, instant gratification, that type of thing, like video games or whichever, which, don't get me wrong, I love video games once in a while and I like enjoying them with other people. But is this time by yourself? Is this providing anything for your future, your family? Why not look into something like investing or business or that type of thing where you can use skills and create a skill set to create more income so that you could get out of your job, so you could retire, so you could, live a more fruitful life, that type of thing. So the 3 to 5 to 10 gigs of data, 80, 85, I see these deals. These are great deals because, they're not double the cost for double the data. It makes sense. But what are you doing with that data? What are you doing with that time? There's time linked to this. There's calories linked to the popcorn. What are you doing with that time in this sense? Because calories usually equals time. What are you doing with that time? What are you doing with this time? What are you doing in your free time? What are you using? What are you paying basically to eat up your time? It's interesting if you think of it like that. And that's what I wanted to share with this video, is based on consumption and how either consumption in a calorie sense or in a data sense is always equal to time. And your time is very valuable. My time is very valuable. Everyone's time is very valuable, right? You want to live a more fruitful life. You want to get more time back in your life so you can enjoy it. But people will pay like an extra $1 for a large popcorn they don't need to take on an extra 200% calories that they have to work off for an extra 2 hours at the gym, or, whatever it turns out to be. Same with the data. Why pay 90 when you could pay 80 and have more free time to actually hang out with your kids rather than on social media or whichever? Anyway, that's what I want to share with this video, is consumption. Look at it as a different sense, as time sense, as there's hidden costs to everything. Even if it's you're the hidden cost. You're the byproduct of your choices, right? So I want to share that in this video. Thanks, and talk soon.